Hi there, year 8. So, term 6, week 7, we're going to look at the question, what is an empire? Now, the important thing to remember about this is that this is happening during the Industrial Revolution. So this is the same period, that 1750 to 1900, where we're seeing all of this change in Britain. The other thing that's really important to note about empire is you need to do this work because otherwise you're not going to understand what we start with in year 9. So it's something to really focus on, okay? Okay, so what I'd like you to do is when you go on to the next slide, you're going to see 2 pictures. Now, there is a very obvious difference between them. You don't need to worry about it. I promise you, you will be able to see what the difference is between them. And all I want you to do is identify that difference. You don't need to write it down. You just need to have it in your head. And then we're going to build on that together. So these are 2 world maps, okay? The top one is the world map in 1900, and the bottom one is the world map in 1750. And I want you to tell me, what is the difference, ladies and gentlemen? What is the difference? So hopefully, on the last slide, you're able to tell me a really simple difference is that there was more coloured in on the top map than there was on the bottom map. And that's all it was. Now, if you look at this map on this slide, the same areas are coloured in. And these are the areas of land that Britain controlled by the end of the Industrial Revolution. So by 1900, all of these lands are ruled by Britain. And that's what empire is. And that's what we're going to start looking at now. So, can you please put your title, empire, put today's date on whatever you're working on, whether that be paper or in your book. And the first thing I want you to do is to have a watch of that horrible history. It goes quite fast, so please feel free to watch it more than once. Once you've done that, I want you to get these keywords and definitions down into your exercise books, okay? They are keywords. They are words we definitely will be using in year 9. So please, if you can make them stand out, draw a bubble around them, highlight them, colour them in, anything like that, but make them stand out. So you've got 3 of them. So empire, and that's the name of a country or countries which is ruled by one nation. So when we talk about the British Empire, it's all the countries that are under our control. Colony, a country, a singular country that's owned by another, okay? So the colonies all together would make up the empire. And then conquer. When we conquer something, we take it by force, okay? It's taken over by force. They haven't asked us to rule them. We have forced them to let us rule them. Write those down for me, year 8. Okay, task 1. So we're going to do the A to Z of the British Empire. So what I want you to do is to write out your alphabet. Write it down your page, 1 letter on every line. You can go on to the next page, that's absolutely fine, or onto the back of your paper. And you're going to need to do a little bit of research here, but you're going to find a name of a country that was part of Britain's empire for every letter. Okay, now it is completely possible to do this. It's very easy to do it, okay? Some of them are a little bit tricky, but you will be able to do it. And once you've done that, I want you, if you can, to find out, what did we gain from owning this country? So what does Britain actually gain by owning or controlling each of these separate countries. So here's a question for you, Year 8. Should the British be proud of their empire? Should we be proud that a tiny country like us are in control of over a quarter of the countries in the world? That we forced them to be under our control? Is that something to be proud of? Well, views change, and definitely in 2020 it is not seen as a positive thing. But in the 18th century, in the 19th century, people really were feeling pride in their empire. Now, what I'd like you to do is I'd like to read the bullet points on this slide, and then we're going to continue with this focus of this idea of should we be proud of controlling a quarter of the world's countries. So, if you can get your source sheet, doesn't matter if it's printed or if you're looking at it online, I want you to read through the sources. And we're going to do a bit of source analysis. Source analysis just means finding the relevant evidence in that source, okay? So it could be a phrase, it could be a sentence, it could be a couple of words. And what I want you to do is to go through the sources, and where you find evidence that, yes, people were right to be proud of the empire, highlight it in a colour or underline it. Where you find things that actually are suggesting this is not a good thing, the empire is something that we actually should be ashamed of, we've treated people badly, I'd like you to underline it in your other colour. Now, pick out the key sentences or words. Don't just highlight the whole source. Find the section of that source that's strongest for telling you about if you should be proud or not of the empire. And now you've done that, we're going to carry on. And I want you to draw the table below in your book, on your paper. It's a really simple table, just 2 columns. We should be proud of the empire. We should be ashamed of our empire. And what I want you to do is to pull out the bits that you've highlighted, and not the whole source. I don't want you to write the whole source down. I want you to write the most relevant information down. Okay, and you're going to try and get at least 3 pieces of evidence, so quotes from your sources, on each side of your table. Right then, so in today's lesson, we've looked at what empire was, we've looked at some of the countries that Britain was in control of, and we've looked at this question: was the British Empire something we should be proud of? Well, I want you to finish off today on that question, and I want you to write me a paragraph in your exercise book or on your paper explaining your view. So you're going to start off with your point. I think the British Empire was one to be proud of. I think the British Empire was one to be ashamed of. Do you have a different view on that? Your evidence. Choose something from your table, okay? So choose one of your quotes from your table. And then your explanation. Why is that quote showing that we should be proud of this empire or we should be ashamed of this empire? Okay, that's it for today, Year 8. Like I said, you're going to need this for our first topic in Year 9. So it's a really, really important one to get done. Once you've done it, if you can upload it either on Show My Homework or if you could email it to your teacher. Any queries or questions, please do get in touch with us either on Show My Homework or email your teacher. Thank you very much, Year 8.